Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sean, sometimes known as the Beast, and what I wanted to do was I've been to a few record fairs and been digging a little bit in some of the I say local record stores. It's still a 2-hour train journey to the local one for me, and managed to pick up a few bits and bobs that were some OGs, some are earlier pressings than the ones I actually owned. There's nothing spectacularly rare or grail worthy in amongst this lot. There's some things I thought might be interesting to show, and they're sort of earlier versions of what I already own or didn't own. So first up is Slayer's Live Undead. Now this came out in 1985. The price the gentleman was asking for was he was practically giving it away. So I'm not a massive fan of the picture disc, and to be honest, it'll probably never get played. This has been bought purely for I just wanted it in my collection. There's quite a few checking on Discogs. There's quite a few variants that have got different colour outer rims. So it was quite hard to nail down which one this actually was in relation to adding it to Discogs, but I think we've got there in the end. It's not the rarest one by any means, but again, it was a bit of a nostalgic purchase more than anything else. I never actually owned this when it was out originally. Can't get it back in the sleeve, very professional. I had it on a dub cassette. So when they were released, there was a lot of the Slayer stuff reissued. Was it maybe 2021, 22, something like that? I bought it then, so when I want to listen to it I do actually play that version. But I said, for the price he was asking, it's a bit of a no-brainer really. So that's the first one, and that's Slayer's Live Undead. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. You'll probably know all of these records anyway, but it seems a bit daft going into too much detail. The next two are by the same band, and are two absolute classics. This is Helloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. Probably one of the best power, speed, metal albums ever released. These are the 88 reissues. Again, it's an album that back in the day it was played to death. All my mates had it. I had it on, I think I had it on a cassette version, which has long since been disintegrated. And I just sort of went off Helloween a little bit. Like I said in the metal tag, it was only when I bought the box set for a dirt cheap price that I sort of remembered, actually these are really top quality albums. None of these have been cleaned by me. These are just pretty much as I've bought them, and you can see, without trying to catch too much glare, the vinyl is pretty immaculate on them. And these two, the gentleman I bought them off is the same guy I bought the Agent Orange excuse me, off last time, and he's quite willing to discount a little bit of the his asking price, and say that if you walk in HMV and buy one of the modern reissues, they were far dearer than the price he was asking for these. So it was a no-brainer. I was never going to leave it there, or leave these there for someone else to pick up. So pretty much guess what this next one is. It's Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. Again, they've obviously been loved and used and moved around and stuff, but there was no way I was leaving them. I didn't really need to buy them because, you know, the box set has them in, but when you see records like this, the nostalgia side of it kicks in and you think, yeah, we're going to take them home with us and give them a proper home. Now I don't know if the original inner label was like that, with sort of a blur, but hey ho, say for the price I paid, I'm certainly not going to complain. The vinyl's immaculate. They've been loved, they've been played obviously. A few little scuffs and scrapes, as you'd expect, but yeah, I was really happy to get both of these in the collection and in such good nick and for such a really good price. So that's Helloween Keepers of the Seven Keys part 1 and 2. Slightly changed tack and gone from power speed metal to just pure unadulterated, no nonsense thrash metal. This is Kreator's Endless Pain. This is the 89 reissue. It's not an OG, unfortunately, and again this wasn't a massive price. When you look at some of the prices on Discogs that these are going for compared to what I actually paid, it was just, whew. Again, it's one of those no, I'm not leaving it for anybody else. We have the inner sheet. I've got a terrible frog in my throat, so I do apologise. Do we need to say anything about this album? I don't think we do. If you're watching this, then you know how much I love thrash metal. So seeing an early pressing of this, like I say, it's not an OG, but seeing an early pressing of this in such good nick for a decent price, it was just yeah, it's coming home with me. I'm sure I can find a space on the shelf in amongst all the other stuff. I would still, if I did find an OG pressing of this, I would still pick it up with, price pertaining to it obviously, but yeah, you don't leave things like this in the shop for somebody else when you claim to be a massive thrash fan. So that is Kreator and their fantastic Endless Pain. Talking of Kreator and fantastic albums, seeing an OG press of this that has definitely been loved, this was always going to come home with me. This is well, it's battered, but it suits its extreme aggression. Sorry, I didn't mean to say where it was. This is just absolute a masterpiece. This is a thrashterpiece, as Darcy would say. If you haven't heard this, this is taking thrash metal to a whole new level. This is absolutely wonderful. By far my favourite Kreator album. So when I saw this on OG, actually in Beatdown Records up in Newcastle, now it has got a lot of surface scratches, but it sounds fantastic when it's played. It's obviously not as heavy duty as the modern 800 gram releases that seem to be making them out, but it's had a life. It's been enjoyed and been played, but yeah, there was no way I was going to leave this alone. It's just one of those. It doesn't matter how many times I listen to it, it never ever gets stale. Everything about this album is top 10 out of 10. That is the mighty Kreator and Extreme Aggression. Now the next one is an album that I bought it. Nostalgia had played a big part in this, because I remember being after it years ago. I remember seeing the video for the first single that came off it and thought, now this is good. Yeah, my opinions might have changed slightly. This is Princess Pang and their debut self-titled album from 1989. Sort of like, they're classed as glam rock, but I always thought it was more just like bluesy rock. When I think of glam bands, I think of bands like Poison, and this is nothing like that. It's female fronted, really good vocals on the track that was released. What the hell was it called? I can't remember what the album was, what the first song was called. Oh, Trouble in Paradise, first track on the album, you dickhead. And I remember listening to her voice and thinking, oh, that's really good, I'm going to have to try and get hold of it. And I'd never been able to. So I happened to pop into a record store, actually after being to a record fair. There's a record store in the city and saw it in there. It was a little bit dearer than I would have paid for it looking back now, having brought it home and played it and thought, yeah, it's actually pretty bang average, but it's nice to have in the collection. It's what it says on the tin. It's sleazy, hard rock, female fronted, bit of a blues vibe at times. It's certainly not an essential, you know, oh, you must have this in your collection type thing. It's I'm glad I've got it. Say nostalgia played a big part in me picking it up, and oh, I've never seen that in the wild anywhere. I'll have to get it. But it's a good album. It's okay. It will get spun, but it's certainly not. It's not something that I'd say you need to go out and buy it type thing. But again, nice to have in the collection. So that's Princess Pang and their self-titled debut from 1989. Talking of nostalgia and such like, back in the day, my friends and I used to have a discussion on who was better, Doro Pesch or Lee Aaron. Now, in my mind, there was only one winner vocally, so when I saw this I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to get that. This is Lee Aaron's 12-inch Barely Holding On picture disc. This was actually cheaper than you'd probably pay for a bog standard CD nowadays. Excuse me. I always thought Lee Aaron had a far better voice than Doro. Obviously Doro was a lot more metal than Lee Aaron was, but yeah, that was a, do I need it? Probably not. Am I leaving it there for somebody else? Not a chance. So that's the 12-inch version of Lee Aaron's Barely Holding On. Cracking song, by the way. So next up is something I was really pleased about grabbing. This is the mighty Macabre and their album Gloom. This came out in 1989. Actually, there's quite a few of these on here. It came out in 1989. This is their second release, I believe it was. Yeah. Again, the price that the gentleman was asking for and the condition of them, the actual thing itself, I was never ever going to leave it. This is, how do you describe Macabre? It's sort of a mix of thrash, death metal almost, grind at times. Absolutely fantastic band, fantastic album as well. And like I say, none of these have been cleaned by me yet. They've all been spun, they all sound great. Obviously they've had a quick wipe over with the anti-static cloth type thing, but yeah, I was very, very happy to find this. I think this was the same gentleman that got the Helloween ones off, so he puts a price on it, I think with the intention of knowing he's going to get talked down, and yeah, more than happy to add this to collection. So that's the mighty Macabre and their album Gloom from 1989. Next up was one I wasn't ever interested in buying, really, and then I believe it was Mr. Boulder showed, I think he maybe showed the CD version a while back and saying what a good album it was, as the live album goes. And saw it in the shop and I thought, yeah, well, I'll give it a go. I'm glad I did. This is Dark Angel and Live Scars. This came out in 1990. Frog in the throat's killing me. And yeah, I was never really the biggest Dark Angel fan. However, I'm really, really glad I picked this up, because this is a really, really good, solid live recording of thrash metal. If you haven't heard it, and I hadn't, then it's definitely worth giving it a spin. I can see why Mr. Boulder was praising it so highly. I'm assuming it was. I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Boulder. Again, it's out on under one flag, if I can get hold of the bloody thing. And the vinyl's in really, I mean, it's been played, you can tell it's been played, which is what it should be. And absolutely, when I got home and put it on, I was genuinely surprised at how good of a recording it was, because I just never bothered with it. I'm not the biggest fan of live albums per se, but if you haven't heard this, I would definitely track it down and give it a listen. I'm not saying you have to rush out and buy it, but it's definitely worth listening to. Really good sort of snapshot of the band at that time. Straight after, is it the second album, Leave Scars? So obviously Live Scars was quite a bit of a stretch to come up with a title for the album, obviously, but yeah, it's well worth a listen. Next up was one that I definitely didn't need to buy, but I did because, well, it's Overkill, and the version I've got has got the green lettering, and this one's got red, and that's it. That's the only reason I bought it. That is how much of a collector scum idiot I actually am. It is an OG press. It's just, you know, out on under one flag again, and again, it's just, it was one of those things when I saw it and I was in the mood for buying vinyl, surprise surprise, I was like, yeah, I'm not leaving this. This needs to come home and find a place on my shelf, and no, it has. And if you think that's silly, well, there you go. Overkill told you. Right, a couple more. Next up is, well, the UK have brought out some absolute belting crossover and thrash metal bands from back in the day. So finding an OG press of this, an album I'd actually forgotten about until, I think it was Mark G with a C showed it, maybe on a, don't think it'll have been a collection update, it'll have been some type of thread he was responding to or some such. And when Mark showed it, I think it was Mark anyway, I thought, yeah, I'm going to have to try and grab a copy of that. And lo and behold, the baby Jesus shone his light on me and I found it in the shop. The obligatory collage on that side. Again, the vinyl's been played, obviously, it's been, you know, it's been shown some affection and love and abuse, but like I said, none of these were overly expensive. None of these were what you would pay for a modern reissue, I wouldn't have thought. You know, it's literally been a case of right place at the right time, and I've been fortunate enough to find some absolute beauties. Well, I consider them beauties. You might have different opinions, which is one of the best things about music. If you all like the same stuff, it would be very boring. So the last one is an album I took a chance on. Somebody has shown this in the VC, but I couldn't remember who or for the life of me when or why. This is Poltergeist, and this is their album Behind My Mask. This is from 1991. This is a thrash metal band from Switzerland, I believe. Yeah, Switzerland. This is sort of second tier thrash metal. It's certainly not, you know, fantastically brilliant and, oh, you need to rush out and buy it type thing. But if you're a fan of thrash metal, then I think you'll enjoy it. There is one song that is a ballad, and that's, yeah, I'm guessing they thought, oh well, it's obligatory now to stick a ballad on. Yeah, I think we probably should have left that one off, because it's not a great ballad, to be honest. But again, it wasn't a massive amount of money. It was a blind buy of sorts. but it's had quite a few spins. It's a very good album. I say it's just not, you know, it's not obligatory, you must go and get it type thing. It's sort of a nice addition without being an essential addition, we'll put it that way. So that's it, just a little quick some of the bits and bobs I've managed to find recently at, like I say, at record fairs and digging in a couple of the local record shops. If there's any of these you know any more about, or if I've been mistaken and they are actually all bootlegs, please pop down in the comments and let me know. A couple more new subscribers, so the 500 subs competition now, it looks like it's a thing of the past. I might as well wait until we get up to the 600 mark, because there was that many going at the same time. I didn't really want to throw another thread up, but we'll I'll make it a worthwhile prize when we get to the 600 mark, if we get to the 600 mark. Thanks for watching. If you stuck out with this long, listening to me gurgle and chuckle my way through things. Like I said, pop down in the comments if there's anything you need to, or you want to know about these, or that you do actually know about them that I've mistakenly said. Probably back in a week's time or so with some type of what's been spinning. I've been on a bit of a thrash kick lately. I've been doing some bits and bobs at home, so it just bunged a thrash playlist on Spotify, and it proper brought up some good old-fashioned memories. So I might do a thrash update, something like that, or a what's been listening type thing. So as always, look after one another, enjoy whatever music you're listening to, enjoy whatever genre of music you're listening to, and until this next time, cheers!